So for people that are listening to this in America or New Zealand or Singapore, wherever, when you say the system, let's just talk about this in sort of simple nutshell format, like exactly what are we talking about here? You know, what is this? What is the situation, and what is the system, and what is it that you're trying to resolve?
Well, I think no matter where you're sitting in the world right now, everybody can relate to where we are. You know, there are measures that are put in place that are tyrannical. We have the idea of democracy is gone. We are now sitting in a very communistic state, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world. That's the reality of where we are right now. So, and this is not about vaccines, and this is not about COVID. This is about decisions that are made by our government that really trample over the rights of people. We are told that we live in a democratic society, but the reality is that we don't live in democracy. Democracy is an illusion. There's no way for the people to respond back to those that sit in positions of authority. The bottom line is that people that are sitting in positions of authority like government and like big business, they are only beholden to one another. They make the rules and they impose those rules upon us. That's not democracy. That is not freedom. That is not what we have all fought for so hard. So it's time that we change that system, but you're never going to change the system by trying to fight the beast. You know, you can't take things, you can't use the same ideology that we've always used and hope to get a different result. We really need to turn to the people. We really need to look to each other and to find a way. And the only reason why we have power, why we've given so much power, is because we've become so reliant on these systems. We're reliant on industry. We're reliant on so many of these things. And the only way for us to change that is to change our own behavior. And by changing our own behavior, we can shift the balance of power. And we must shift the balance of power, because we cannot continue down this trajectory. We are going to find ourselves in a very, very, very frightening place if we allow things to continue. And I think that's a reality that most of your listeners, I'm sure, can relate to in some way.
Yeah. So are you talking about then, because my understanding from the outside, and maybe that's also because you're South African, is that your movement and Move 1 Million was very much aligned with South Africans, but is this on a global scale?
Well, it was aligned to my country, my people, absolutely. But I think on a global scale, there's so many similarities and there's so many things that are relatable. All we have to do is look around right now and see how the people are standing and rising against the systems. They're rising against the governments. They've had enough. People are speaking out. They are, and whether they're right or whether they're wrong, and you've got all these weird, crazy conspiracy theories floating around about 5G, and who cares? It's not the point. The point is that in an age of information, we've never had such little of it. We've never had such little clarity. We are more confused than we've ever been. And that's not a South African thing. That's a global thing. We don't know who to trust in the media. We don't know who to trust in government. We don't know who to trust on social media. There is so much discourse. There is so much disconnect. There is so much disinformation and misinformation floating around. And we used to know where the disinformation and misinformation came from, and now we don't. Now we don't know who's lying and who's not lying. It's a horrible, lonely place for us to be in. The only thing that you can trust is the person standing next to you, really. The person that's in the same boat as you. The person that's being affected in the same way that you're being affected. The person that has lost what you've lost. That's the person you can trust. That's the person you can stand next to. And I think that we've really got to look at ourselves and look at the role that we've played, allowing things to get to where they've gotten to, and ask ourselves how we bring about that change. And it's certainly true for South Africa, and I know it's true for just about the whole world right now.
Yeah.